Any tips on how to be funny? I feel boring at times.
Hang out with funny people. Hang out with funny friends. People that are entertaining.
Watch SNL. Like
SNL's not
watch
funny anymore. No.
no. Watch
Yeah,
watch
SNL sucks.
comedy.
Have friends that are funny, that tell jokes, that keep you laughing, that are always happy, that like to have a good time. Because wherever you go, they're the life of the party. People are having a good time. They're fun. They're friendly. They feel safe. They look safe. And women are attracted to men who are having a good time. 'Cause especially when you go out the bars and the nightclubs, typically you got a lot of dudes that are kind of like around the periphery with their hands in their pocket or their hand on their beer and in front of their chest, blocking their emotional center, and they don't look like they're having a good time. And then you have another group of guys that's over here, and they're just focused on each other and laughing, having a good time. There might be a couple girls in their group, and the energy and the vibe is different of them, and that's why the women will approach that group versus the weird, creepy dudes that are all standing by themselves in the corner. And so if you're more of like an introvert, it's be a good listener. Be take a sincere, authentic interest in other people. Even though I talk for a living, I'm more of an introvert. I like to hang back, and over the course of my life, all the closest girlfriends I've had, all my closest friends are very outgoing, and they like to talk a lot. I like to listen. I like to analyze. I like to take things in, and because I like very outgoing people who like to talk and I like listening to it makes it easy to meet other people because they're the ones that typically tend to be more outgoing, and there's always other people that come into your orbit. Outgoing people tend to attract other outgoing people, or at the very least, people that like listening to them because we all want to feel important. And if somebody really is interested in what we have to say, it creates rapport. It makes you feel like this person cares about me, and you want to spend more time with them. And so if you watch other people, especially people that are funny and good with jokes and how they do it, what their body language is, their tone of voice, and especially when you have friends that go out that you hang out with a lot and they use the same jokes over and over, whether it's with the girls or friends or just people in general, like obviously like we know like with Sean, it's like I've known dude for 40 years almost, and I've heard all of his jokes and all of his stories, and even 4 decades later he's still telling the same stories to people that are brand new that we're just meeting, and they get great laughs, and everybody has a good time. And it's just people come over, girls come over and hang out just because it's the vibe, the energy. And it's like even you know at his house where he and his wife live, it's like they're like the life of the neighborhood. Everybody wants to come over and hang out. Their kids come over, the adults hang out and cook and barbecue and drink beers. The kids swim in the pool. They watch college football or NFL or whatever, and they're like the life of the neighborhood. And so everybody knows everybody. And so when you meet people like that and hang out with them, you learn their mannerisms. You learn how to be funny yourself. People like to tell me that the things that I say on camera are pretty funny sometimes, but I've learned those things from other people that were really funny. So when you see enough jokes getting delivered, and enough funny lines, and enough one-liners and things, and they go over well, you steal those things and you use them yourself.
At the end of the day, I would say, yeah, definitely hang out with funny people, but you should, I think what really helps with that is being with people who are real and very honest about who they are. And it's true what they say, whoever you hang out with, like, it's like birds of a feather flock together. So you're going to be influenced by those people. And if you're influenced by people who are real and honest, they're going to bring out the best in you and the funny's going to come out, because you're having such a great time with them that you're going to pick up all their good habits. So.
Yeah, people that like to laugh and are that they're the life of the party. It's their energy is contagious and it attracts other like-minded people to you.
I think that's a very good thing. Like, especially the stories thing. You would probably want to get like 5 or 6 stories that you kind of practice, like, and they don't have to be completely true, but you just want to. It's more to like, especially like when you're meeting new people. You have these good like kind of stories that you've practiced a lot and you've refined it. You talk to a bunch of different people, so you know what, this part of the story is a little dry. Let's get rid of that. If you kind of do that, that's a really good way to do it. And kind of open it up, but also don't try and be like, don't go into it as like, okay, I have a whole fucking act list. Like, you're not a comedian getting on stage.
But you can reuse the same material over and over,
totally.
the same stories, especially when they're effective. That's why the
Yeah, you
guys in
have
the
to. Yeah.
pickup and seduction community were so successful, is they learned routines and they learned jokes and they learned things that were funny, and they had enough material that when it was time for them, the speaker, to say something, they could share stories or share jokes or things that were interesting anecdotes about life. And as Steve Jobs said, great artists steal. And so if you know people and you hang out with people that are funny and fun to be around, it's learn their material, and you can use it yourself, and you learn the tone you learn the way to deliver it yourself.
When you meet new people, it's a really great icebreaker too, because like you're showcasing something about yourself. And I think when it comes to being funny, one of the things that a lot of people who are funny have is like they've increased their, I guess, social skills. Like they become extroverted over the years, and
Well,
so
plus they know that they're funny, because especially when they deliver the same jokes over and over, like Sean has, and like everybody in his family rolls their eyes when one of them comes up. But even still, it's decades later, you've been hearing the same thing over and over, but this new group of people hasn't heard it before, and so it's funny to them, and everybody else laughs because even though they've heard it before, it's just funny how the other people see it, and they take it that way. So there's, you can always imitate. It's like one of the things I learned in architecture classes I had in school was that one of my architecture drafting teachers said, it's like the great thing about architecture is that you can go out and see things. So you can see houses, you can see buildings. You're like, oh, that's really cool. And see the way it's designed, see the lines, and you can incorporate stuff that looks really cool into your own design. So it's like, find other people that are funny and use some of their jokes, use some of their stories, hang out with them. But because part of the reason why they're so funny is they're so confident in their delivery. And what makes humor so hilarious is like you look at somebody like old school George Carlin, and he could talk about politics or the elite and just say things. And what made him so funny is like what Jocelyn was talking about, he was so real, and he would talk about universal truths that all of us could see, but say it in a way, with F bombs and very unapologetic. And, that's part of the, like when you look at memes and stuff, how people on the right always say that the people on the left can't meme because they don't really understand it. What makes memes so effective and so funny, like Elon Musk is a big fan of memes, is the thing that makes a meme funny is it's making fun of, or it's calling light to something that is a uncomfortable truth that's covered up or ignored, or it has a different meaning than we all deep down know what it is. And so you call it out, and that's part of what makes it funny is you're so unapologetic and so real about it.
also another thing, there's gonna be people out there that their sense of humor is completely different. If they don't jive with your humor, then those are not your people.